Hi everybody, Sam Lewis here, your Royal Miss Cheshire 2021. I have an amazing guest to interview today, and she's very beautiful and I can't stop staring at her crown. And her name is Cassandra Wallace. Now Cassandra Wallace is our Ms. World America and World International Misses. How amazing is that she's given her time up to speak to me. So, hello Cassandra, are you okay?
Hello, thank you so much for having me, Sam. It's lovely to be here today.
Oh, it's wonderful. How are you holding up? Is everything okay? How are you holding up with the coronavirus?
Everything's good. It's definitely an adjustment, trying to work on homeschooling my 7-year-old, running my tax practice, volunteering. I'm sure as everybody else in the world is, it's an adjustment and we'll all get through it. Just stay positive.
Stay positive. Keep going forward. Keep going forward. So I've invited you on to talk about empowerment. But first of all, what I wanted to ask you is, what is it that got you into pageantry in the first place?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm not a traditional beauty queen. I kind of fell into pageantry. I was doing a bikini show at a local casino. And when they do, you're walking through, they're like, tell us something about you that we want to share with everyone. Okay. I like to volunteer. So I had written a little bio about, been all over Africa volunteering. So they were talking about that. And I ended up winning the bikini contest. So I went to go thank the judges at the end. And one of the judges was the current Miss Washington, the state that I live in. And she was like, hey, have you ever thought about doing pageants? You should do pageants because, you can really like promote your platform and volunteer. And I was like, ooh, I'm old and married. I can't do pageants. And she's like, no, you can do pageants. I'd never seen a pageant. I thought you had to be like 18 to do it. And she's like, no, sign up. So I signed up. So I was Mrs. Paulsbo, which is the city I live in. And then I was Mrs. Washington, the state. And then Miss World America, country I'm in. And then I went on to be Miss World International Misses. So that's kind of how I got into pageantry, just kind of stumbled into it that way. And the biggest drive for me was the volunteer work and the platform, because I'm really passionate about finding unique ways to give back. And it's just been a wonderful way for me to do that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So what does pageantry mean to you now that you've got involved in it and you've got all these titles? I mean, like with me, I noticed as soon as I got into it, it was not what I thought it was. And it was actually better than what I thought it was, because I thought it was all about bikinis, all these men watching going, oh yeah, you know. And it was opposite. I mean, I don't know whether it's the same in America, but in England, we've got every shape and size and colour and everybody doing pageants. And it's such an empowering experience for these girls. I'd recommend it to anybody now. What would you say pageantry means to you now, and why do you continue to be involved? Do you see it the same way as me, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's really cool because, everybody has their own unique like drives and passions, and you get to come together with a group of like-minded women that do all look different. It's not your stereotypical like size 0 Barbie looking person. There are people covered in tattoos. There's people of every shape and size, and they bring to the table their passion. So whatever it is, their life experience, whatever their platform is, it's so cool to be able to see what their passion is and then to network. So I've gotten to go volunteer and support and participate in charities I never even knew existed. Causes that I was like, oh my gosh, that's wonderful. I want to back that. Didn't even know it was out there. I never would have if it hadn't been for pageantry. And I've met so many incredible, wonderful ladies, and they all kind of band together and we help each other out. So the like Ms. World International queens that I'm still very connected with, they'll have a certain charity. Like one of them's like, hey, my platform's doing this. And all the girls will rally together and be like, cool, let's promo you. Let's support you. Let's show up at your event, travel from other countries to do it. Like, it's a pretty cool sisterhood of people that are willing to like back you on your cause and your passion. So for me, I would absolutely encourage anybody to do it for that reason. The platform is huge in volunteering and the sisterhood, but also the confidence, like being able to learn how to get your point across in a very short amount of time and to be able to talk to people confidently. Like I know for myself, confidence was a huge thing that I lacked and was something very challenging for me to get up there in front of judges and talk. So it definitely helped in a lot of areas of my life. I was too scared to try things, and having won in pageants gave me the confidence to go out and try things that I wouldn't have otherwise tried.
That's amazing. Just going off, sorry I have to do this to you, but just going off the questions that I had planned, I'm just thinking then, you know, when a lot of people look at pageantry like, oh, you're going to stand in front of people and they're going to judge you and you're going to like that and let them do that. Does that affect you in a negative way, or is it a positive way? Or how do you get your head ready for people who judge you? What would you say to those people who see it as that?
Yeah, totally. You know, I think there's a kind of a misconception, because I think people think, oh, you're going up there and you're being compared like, oh, who's hotter, who's whatever. It's very different than that, because you're being judged against yourself. So you're coming and you're presenting the best version of you, what you're the most passionate about. And if you're trying to copy somebody else, you're going to lose. You're not going to do well, because you're not being you. Judges can very much so sense when you're genuine and when you have something to say. So I think the most important thing to remember is you're competing against yourself. So you mentally have to pick something you're passionate to talk about, mentally prepare, see what looks good on you for like colors on your dresses and things like that. And if you're trying to go against everybody else, it's not going to end the way that you think it is. It's very different. It's not like a hot or not website. It's can you take something you're passionate about and present it in a way that people can sense that is real and genuine and get on board with? And that's how it is, because in the older married pageants where there's not a talent portion, the majority of the score is weighted on your interview portion, not on your swimsuit. Like the one I was in, it was equally weighted, but most of them, it's like 50% or more in the pageants in the US that the interview portion is. So how you articulate what your passion is actually has more to do with than your actual appearance in it. So it's a mental game with yourself, I guess, is the best way to describe it.
Definitely. I think they judge the person, don't they, rather than the shell, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's whether they've got something about them, whether they can articulate what they're saying, whether they know their stuff, whether they're confident, how they carry themselves, which was the thing that I struggled with, because I didn't realize I used to walk hunched. I was quite slouched, but when I started doing pageants, I realized to pull my shoulders back and to stand tall and be proud of yourself, you know, and I can feel myself growing when I do it. I mean, people see me as a confident person, but since doing pageantry, it's made me realize just how unconfident I was, because I felt the growth, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, there are things like, for example, I talk way too much with my hands and move too much. So I had to, yeah, that's me. So I have to work on that a ton, because that's my natural inclination. But I think it goes so much farther than just a pageant. It's skills that are good for you and set you apart when you can walk in any room with your shoulders back, your head up, a big smile, confident, help with your job, help with your relationships. Same with being able to articulate clearly. Same with being able to pick clothes that are flattering to your size, to your skin tone, whatever you've got going on. Those are all skills that can transfer to places outside of pageantry.
Definitely. It's like with interviews as well, isn't it? And holding yourself against bullies in school, if any teens were getting involved. It's having that confidence in yourself to be able to move yourself forward. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, the screen keeps freezing a little bit, so I have to catch up a little bit, but it's okay. I can still understand what you're saying. No, it'll be my internet connection. So what would you say it is that empowers you every day? What gets you out of bed and say, today is going to be a good day?
Well, for me, it largely was a catalyst of, I have 3 little boys. I have a 7-year-old and 5-year-old twins. And, you know, something happened in my life that was really intense, and it just really made me sit back and think, like, it was my dad passing away and going through his stuff and everything, and thinking like what kind of legacy he left. And it just really hit home to me about my kids is, well, what am I teaching them? What am I leaving behind to them? What are they gonna, when I'm gone, look back for the time that we've spent and see? And so for me, I drag my children around to a lot of my charity events, because I don't want to just tell them it's important to give back and to care about others and to be kind. I want to show them, and I want them to have memories of actually doing it. So my twins love to run, so I bring them to a lot of 5Ks that they have here. They're usually benefits for, one of them we did was for a cancer survivor, one was for the Special Olympics, one was for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and they dress up in their superhero costumes because that's what they like to wear. And I usually will have my crown. My husband actually welded it, so it literally stays on my head like this, and I can run a 5K in a ball gown chasing my twins. And that's all the time. Well, not now because everything's shut down, but we go do that all the time as a way for it's something they enjoy, but it's also something that gives back and makes a difference. So for me, it's all about, I want to leave a legacy for my children that they're a part of, that it's important to give back and to think of others. So that's really what motivates me every morning as my kiddos.
Yeah, it's leaving an example, isn't it? I think I understand what you're saying about that awakening, because I think that's what happened to me with the cancer journey. It was like, well, if I was to die in the next 3 months, which is what you can only think 3 months ahead, how are people going to remember me? And it's kind of like, I need to do something. I need to do something, leave a legacy. So, you know, my children can now say, oh, that's Sam of Sam's Diamonds. That was my mum. You know what I mean? And she's made a difference to so many people. It's huge. It's funny how it's an awakening, isn't it? I call it my awakening.
Yeah, no, that's a wonderful way to describe it. Yeah, it's very true that, you know, that's so wonderful that you're doing that. It's so amazing.
So have you got a favorite life quote that gets you by each day?
Yeah, I'm Irish, so I'm going to go to an Irish quote, the Irish proverb. It's a kind word never broke anyone's mouth. So I tell that to my kids because you have to be very careful with your words that you use, that they really do impact people a lot more than I think people realize. So that's why it's my quote, because you always have time to give someone a compliment, to say something, because you never know who you run into if that's the only positive thing or kind thing they hear that day. So I always try and encourage my kids, and I always try and make a point of finding something positive to say and kind to every person that I interact with.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Love it. And the final question is, if I was someone who just wasn't feeling empowered today, or wasn't feeling it, just wanted to sit here and do this for the rest of my life, well, what would you say to me to get me motivated? What would you say?
Honestly, I would say get out and do something, because you're going to feel so much better if you get out and you help somebody and do something. Like, even, yes, we're all stuck at home, which is not very fun. Yes, we can't do all the normal things we do, but there are things you can go do. Like, I'm on an ambassador for a soccer league in Haiti where they're empowering women. And of all the kids signed up to play soccer, only 8% are girls. So you can choose to sit at home and do nothing, or you can choose to you can still go on social media, you can promote causes, you can donate to things, you can volunteer, you can help coordinate things. And if you can get over that hump of just sitting there and volunteer and do something, you will feel so much better. Like, it's sort of like a very tricky thing, because you're like volunteering out of the goodness of your heart, but really you end up getting back like 200 times more than the little bit that you get.
You do.
It's sort of selfish to volunteer in that aspect, because you do get a lot back. So if you are feeling unmotivated or whatever, force yourself to do something. There are a million charities. There are a million things to do out there. Find something you like or have an interest in. There's a charity for it. There's a cause for it. They need you. Just Google it or ask somebody in a forum, and you will find people to point you. Do one thing to help them. Make one phone call for them or donate one thing. It will change your life, and it will help you feel empowered, and it will help you feel like you have something to get up for every day. But just sitting there and doing nothing, it's not going to motivate you.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, you know, all these interviews I'm doing with people who, I mean, it's not just pageant queens, there's people who in the community as well who do things I'm interviewing. And every single person has said that the reason they got empowered is because they help other people.
Yes.
Isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy?
It is. Yeah, it totally is. And I know people are like, oh, I can't do it because I don't have money. You don't need to. You can just volunteer or something. Or, oh, I don't have time. I've done volunteer events for things that were literally as short as a minute. That a charity needed a phone call made. Super easy. So Yeah, whether you got a minute, whether you got weeks and hours, whatever you have to donate, there's something really powerful that can be done with that time. So you should just get out and do it.
But you're making a difference to that person, and it could be a huge thing to them, but something so tiny
absolutely.
to you. So they're going to get something massive out of it, but you're also going to get something massive out of it that you can't see until you've done it, really, can you?
No, I don't.
What it does for you until you've done it.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Oh, no, I really appreciate you coming on and taking the time to talk to me. Really do, and it's lovely to hear your views. And congratulations once again on all of your crowns. Did you get 1 crown or did you get 2?
I have 2.
Oh wow, wow! You don't want to pass one this way at all? No, you don't want to share. Donate to me.
I'll share with you. I'll send you one.
Powers.
There you go.
Oh, thank you so much, Cassandra. Really appreciate it. Give everybody a wave goodbye.
Bye. Thank you so much for having me.
That's fine, no problem. Thank you.